Yo, what's going on, everybody? With all of this hype surrounding Madden 19, specifically franchise mode, all these new features, and if you haven't gotten to watch my video diving into these features and you're unaware of all these changes, definitely check that out, link in the description. But I'm super excited for franchise mode this year, and it's got me thinking about the most fun rebuilds to do in Madden 19, and that's what this video is going to be about. Real quick shout out to some of my loyal Patreons: Brandon Screen Ghost, Bryce McDonald, Chase Santos, Clint Green, Garrett Frank. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. For the rest of you guys, specifically my PS4 users, just want to get real for a second here. Last thing I want to do is come off as a sellout, but believe it or not, I am a real life human being. Got to make decisions with my time, and I really want to bring you guys a roster for Madden 19 along with those custom draft classes that are going to be organic with my ratings to bring you that realistic, immersive franchise experience. That said, obviously a very time-consuming process to bring you guys the full suite with roster updates every week. So I have set stretch goals on Patreon to make that happen. If you're on PlayStation and you want the roster, you guys are going to have to band together to make this happen. So enough plugging. Let's get into the 5 most exciting rebuilds for Madden 19. Real quick, my criteria for this list. Number 1 is the storyline of the team. What's been going on the last couple years? What's the hype and expectations surrounding this team? What direction can you take the story, get immersed in your team, and have fun with it? Because that is something I really like about franchise mode, is kind of telling your own story for this team. But of course, the roster matters. Does the team have existing young talent? Young superstars always make it more fun to play with that team. Personally, I prefer to have a good quarterback to build around as opposed to trying to find that quarterback. And then lastly, does the team have any added draft capital to move around the draft with? That definitely plays into a rebuild. So starting off at the bottom here at number 5, the 49ers. And this is definitely going to be a popular team for the next game. You got Jimmy Garoppolo there in his first full season as a starting quarterback, the franchise getting that huge contract. So obviously a lot of hype around this team. You've got the prestige of the 49ers, but as far as that roster is concerned, there's definitely pieces that need to be added. The receiving situation is a little iffy. Can you develop a guy like Dante Pettis to be the go-to third down slot receiver for Jimmy Garoppolo? Defensively, can you continue to develop this defensive line to be one of the nastiest fronts in the NFL? Because they certainly have that potential, but they need to reach it. And then in the secondary, you're going to have to add some more talent. How long can you milk Richard Sherman? So this is a fun team because you get to expand on Jimmy's legacy and build around him, but they've also got some exciting pieces as well. So the 49ers come in at number 5, and we're going to stay in the Bay Area for number 4 with the Oakland Raiders. Coach Chucky Gruden taking over with that 10-year contract. So that plays into it here. Take over as Coach Gruden and see what you can do in that 10-year span as John Gruden goes from booth to sideline to pair with Derek Carr, a young quarterback surrounding a team that frankly has gone a little stagnant after a couple years ago. This team had a lot of hype that they did not meet. So with a new coach, can you recapture that? You've got the move to Las Vegas and a completely new legacy to build for this Raiders team. You've got Khalil Mack. You've got Amari Cooper, you've got Derek Carr, so you've definitely got the young studs here, but you also have some serious holes on this defense. Can Maurice Hurst emerge as a defensive tackle, or are you going to have to really address the interior and meat of this defensive line? In the secondary, you've got a lot of questions. Offensively, you could probably improve this offensive line a little bit in terms of run, but these receivers certainly not solved as far as their roster is concerned. You've got Jordy Nelson as a band-aid, and can you get Martavis Bryant, who's been in the headlines lately, to lay off the weed and focus on his career in a new situation? So you've got a new story to tell here with this Raiders team. Definitely a team I'm going to be playing as in Madden 19. Number 3, we've got the Green Bay Packers. Now, rebuild is a bit of a stretch for this team because you've got Aaron Rodgers there. But obviously, we saw what this team was without Aaron Rodgers. So this puts you in a rare situation for a rebuild where you have those Super Bowl expectations right away, but outside of that quarterback position, I think this might be one of the most exciting Madden rosters to develop. You've got a ton of young, freak athletic talent in the secondary with guys like Kevin King, Jair Alexander, Josh Jackson, Josh Jones, throw Clinton Dix. A really exciting young secondary. See if you can reach their potential. You've got a really good defensive line to build your defensive around, but behind them, you've got a ton of holes and guys to develop. And then on the offensive side of the ball, you don't have a ton to work with either. Can you let Davante Adams develop into that all-pro, true #1 receiver, or do you elect to spread this out to these young receivers, Jamon Moore, Equanimous St. Brown, Marquez Valdez-Scantling? What does the future hold for this offense 4 or 5 years down the road when Aaron Rodgers does get older? Do you decide to keep DeShone Kizer around? What do you do with his development? Is he the future quarterback of Green Bay, or is it someone else? And this also puts you in the situation where you are trying to win a Super Bowl right away. Can you expand on Aaron Rodgers' legacy and get him into that GOAT conversation? Because his play certainly backs that up, but he doesn't have the rings. So lots of exciting things to do about this Packers team. On top of it all, you have the Saints' first-round pick in your first season, so you've got the extra draft capital. This is going to be my team for the TFGO Online League. Going to be my team for the 32-man Sim League, and I cannot wait to develop this new roster. And then number 2, the Seattle Seahawks, and you can argue if this is a rebuild or something else, but definitely a team where you are going to come in and have to make some really tough decisions that this team is dealing with right now. What do you do with the veteran talent here? Cam Chancellor, Earl Thomas. We already saw this team get rid of some other elite members of that Legion of Boom. Do you continue to have that identity as a defensive-minded team, or would you rather elect to build around Russell Wilson so that he doesn't have to be a mobile quarterback that carries his team with a bad offensive line? Would you rather try and mesh him in to be more of a Drew Brees as he enters the second half of his career? It's a team looking to compete, but also has a story that you can take in any direction, as you can do your best job and try to continue this legacy with Pete Carroll and this style of football, or you can take a complete different turn. You've got Rashad Penny there as a fun young running back to play with, but there are certainly holes on this roster as well that you can look to address. And of course, what can you do with Shekem Griffin, the one-arm wonder? Is he an edge rusher? Is he a dime safety? Is he an off-ball outside linebacker? Really exciting athlete that you get to create his own legacy as well. So Seahawks, definitely going to be a fun rebuild. And then number 1, this is kind of a no-brainer here from a roster construction standpoint, the New York Jets. This definitely fits the profile of a young team with a quarterback to build around, with a few young studs, but really holes in every direction, and you can take this team wherever you want. Sam Darnold is going to be a ton of fun to use in Madden. I've compared him to Andrew Luck in all of my draft grades, and you get to be the one that takes over and gets him on that path to being an elite quarterback. But that's not going to happen without offensive line, without receivers, and without making this defense even better. You got Leonard Williams there and Jamal Adams to build that defense around, but there's definitely pieces to be added. And I will also use this video to announce that I will be doing my last Madden 18 rebuild with the New York Jets. You can expect a few seasons of that series to be out before Madden 19 comes out. So you can look forward to that series starting some point in the next week or so. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like the video if you did. What teams did I leave off this list that you are looking forward to rebuilding? I would assume the Bills, the Bengals, the Cardinals, maybe the Dolphins. These are going to be some common teams that definitely could have made this list as well. So cheers as always, everyone. We'll see you next time.